The Miami Dolphins 2024 season is an absolute clown show, and it's up in flames. 5 weeks left into the season. It is an absolute clown show, and I think it's time we need a new face to be the general manager of this team. Also, have the cracks begun between head coach Mike McDaniel and general manager Chris Greer? Bradley Chubb has his practice window open for 21 days. We're going to talk about why that is a waste of time for this organization for the 2024 season. And finally, the players speak out about the game on Thursday. Did the cold have effect in this game? Ladies and gentlemen, there's so much to talk about here today. I could have done a video on Friday, Saturday. I didn't want to do a video yesterday, but I could have done a video one of those days. But I didn't want to waste my time talking about this team while I was enjoying some amazing college football on those 2 days. What a weekend it was. Rivalry weekend. And what a weekend it was for the flags, if you know what I mean. Planting the flags in the middle of the field, a lot of them in college football. But it's Monday. We have a new week ahead of us. We have a new opponent ahead of us. We are playing the New York Jets on Sunday, the 3-9 New York Jets. And purposely, honestly, I don't care. I don't care at all about this game. And neither should you. So we have a boatload of topics that we are going to get into. 4 topics that I want to talk about. And 2 of them are piling on at the same time. So I really don't want to waste any much more time, ladies and gentlemen. If you have not already, be sure to go ahead and subscribe to the Big Fight Fuel channel. The season is coming to an end. The Dolphins' playoff hopes basically done, in my opinion. They're going to need a lot of help to get there. Nothing went their way yesterday. Which, that is, by the way, I do want to mention that. My timeline last night during the Bills game was half Miami Dolphin fans complaining about other teams not beating the teams that we need to win. The Falcons losing to the Chargers. The Patriots losing to the Colts. The Jaguars losing to the Texans. How about this? How about instead of getting mad at those teams, get mad at your own team who played prime time Thanksgiving night and laid an egg? That's who you should be mad at. You should be mad at the Miami Dolphins, not the Atlanta Falcons, and not the New England Patriots. You should be mad at the Miami Dolphins for letting you down again and again and again and again. But whether we have a chance at the playoffs or not, I'm going to be here talking about the Dolphins every week as we wind down towards the end of the season, and it looks like the Dolphins content is going to come to a week. It's going to end a week earlier this year. That's my prediction. And if you haven't already, be sure to go ahead and check out the post-game recap video of the Dolphins-Packers game. I will post that up on here in the last 20 seconds of this video. All you got to do is click on it when it shows up in the last 20 seconds. But, of course, don't do that until you've watched the entirety of this video. Okay. So this is what I want to talk about first. And I was asleep like pretty early last night, like around 11 o'clock. And I woke up this morning, and this was one of the first things that I saw. And this is related to Shaq Barrett. Now, Drew Rosenhaus went on a radio show last night, and he talked about this situation with Shaq Barrett And I didn't do any. I didn't talk much about Shaq Barrett on Thursday night. Shaq Barrett is not playing for the Miami Dolphins this year. The Dolphins chose for him not to come on the team this year, and you will not see Shaq Barrett in a Miami Dolphins uniform. But this is interesting. And this comes to last Tuesday's press conference. This is the Tuesday before the Dolphins are going to play the Green Bay Packers. Barry Jackson tweeted this piece out last night. He deleted it, but I still have it. He tweeted out, McDaniel said Tuesday that the news of Shaq Barrett coming out of retirement was news to him, and he found out from media reports on Tuesday. Drew Rosenhaus told WSVN tonight that he told Chris Greer Monday that Shaq Barrett wanted to come out of retirement and play for the Miami Dolphins. Did Greer not tell McDaniel? Are you fucking kidding me? This is why shit like this, behind closed doors, behind the scenes, shit like this is why the Miami Dolphins are a top 10 worst organization in the NFL. Top 10 worst. They are a terribly ran organization. And shit like this proves it. So Chris Greer finds out Monday. And he doesn't tell Mike McDaniel. And he doesn't tell Anthony Weaver. Anthony Weaver didn't know until the press conference on Tuesday. Same day as McDaniel. They both found out through media reports. So why is the general manager hiding stuff from our head coach? That is absolute clownery if I've ever seen it. And that's all I could find on this because Barry Jackson deleted most of this. But holy shit, man. This is New York Jets organization level of bad. This is horrendous for the Dolphins organization. Shaq Barrett did want to play in the NFL again, but not for the Miami Dolphins. And this is horrendous that our general manager decided to do that. Now, I'm going to tie this in with, you see the title of the video, the Miami Dolphins, they need a fresh face as the general manager. They need a fresh start. Okay? He came in, Chris Greer. If there's any year that I know that we need to move on from Chris Greer, it is this season. This offseason, on Black Monday, he needs to be canned. He needs to be canned on Black Monday. This shit has to stop. Has everything Chris Greer done in this organization bad? No. He's done some really good things for this organization. In the draft and in free agency and trades, and he did the whole trade with San Francisco for them to move up and get Trey Lance, which ultimately resulted in Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, and Bradley Chubb. That was probably the best thing that Chris Greer did for this organization, was that trade with the San Francisco 49ers. And look where Trey Lance is now. That trade worked out beautifully for the Miami Dolphins. But he's also had some really bad. And it is this year's roster construction, and it is draft picks that he's had in the past. He's had terrible draft picks. And I'm going to name you a couple of them that he could have taken way better players over. And we go back to the 2020 draft. Austin Jackson with the 18th or 20th pick in the first round. I'm not so sure. But Austin Jackson was a first round pick. Do you want to know? At this time, the Miami Dolphins starting running back was Myles Gaskin. Myles Gaskin. Ladies and gentlemen, do you want to know who got drafted day 2 of the draft? One of the very first picks, Jonathan Taylor. So yes, Austin Jackson was a nice pick, but do you know who this man skipped out on for Austin Jackson? Fucking Jonathan Taylor. That's a huge miss by Chris Grier. A huge miss. Now, I will say, besides the Liam Eichenberg pick, he hit on the 2021 draft with Jalen Waddle, Jalen Phillips, Javon Holland, who for the most part has been good. Javon Holland has not been the same player since Fail Mary last year. It's just the God-honest truth. He has not been the same player since the Fail Mary last year against the New York Jets. At the time, though, it was a really good pick. But then we get to 2022, and that was an egregious pick. Horrendous pick by Chris Grier. So in the third round, am I reading this right? What year did Cam Smith go? I don't know. But I think it was 2023. I'll look at that in a bit. This is our 2022 draft. Channing Tindall. Where the hell is he? How's he gotten better since we drafted him in 2022? He's nowhere near a starting caliber linebacker in the NFL. Eric Ezukama, we had high hopes for Eric Ezukama. Eric Ezukama played in good roles, but he, for the most part, was terrible. Not terrible, but he was never on the field because he was always hurt. And Chris Grier loves drafting and bringing in injury-prone players. So that was a bad pick. Cameron Good has had no significance, no mark on this team. And then finally in the 7th round, they drafted Skylar Thompson. We know how that went out. By the way, Mike McDaniel said today Tyler Huntley's going to be the backup for Tua on Sunday against the Jets. Ladies and gentlemen, the Skylar Thompson experiment is done. Done. Then we get to 2023. The 2023 draft. Okay, this is it. 3rd round, Devon Achane. Love it. Absolute home run. He's now a top 10 running back in the NFL. He's our running back 1 for the future. Fucking great pick. I will give him that one. But round 2, Cam Smith. Cam Smith. He blows. Cam Smith blows. Okay? Blows. Last year, he was told he was not good enough by Vic Fangio, and this Vic Fangio refused to play Cam Smith last year. And it's like, oh, he's got to give him a chance. We all blamed Vic, okay? This year, though, he's not good. He's not good. He's always getting picked on in games. Him and Storm Duck, they always pick on those guys when they're in the game. They're always going after Cam Smith. And he's always hurt. He's hurt again. He's unlikely to play Sunday against the Jets. That has no significance. That's not a big deal. but the guy is always hurt. That was a really, really bad draft pick by Chris Greer. That might have been, and yeah, I will go out and say it. Since he's been here in 2016, that was Chris Greer's worst draft pick. Cam Smith in the second round. Terrible. And then this year's draft, we are in a win now situation mode. Win now. And he drafts Chop Robinson and Patrick Paul, who are projects. We don't have time for project picks. We need players who are going to help us win now. Patrick Paul is going to be a starter next year. Chop Robinson, he's coming along nicely. But there was better picks out there for Chris Greer to make. And he has been terrible drafting for the Miami Dolphins. Really bad. Then you want to talk about free agency. Oh my God. Shame on me. Because I thought this past free agency was good for the Miami Dolphins. Oh, shame on me, man. Listen, I understand that I understand that you couldn't pay Christian Wilkins. He was asking you for a boatload of money. He was asking you for money that if you paid Christian Wilkins, you were not going to be able to pay Tua Tagovailoa. You had to move on from Christian Wilkins. I understand. But to let Robert Hunt and Andrew Van Ginkel walk in the offseason, shame on you. Shame on you. Andrew Van Ginkel is tearing it up with the Minnesota Vikings. Robert Hunt is playing well with the Carolina Panthers. It'd be nice to have Robert Hunt blocking for Tua instead of Liam Eichenberg. Shame on you, Chris Greer, for letting those two guys walk. And then what did you do this offseason? Decided to be cheap. Pay old veterans cheap money. Granted, you brought in Calais Campbell. That was your best move this offseason. It was Calais Campbell, and then it was Jonnu Smith. Your other signings have been okay at best. Jordan Brooks has been okay. Your other ones, Aaron Brewer is good. I will give you Aaron Brewer. But the rest of them suck. Terrell Dotson in the middle of the season. We thought he was a dog. He was a sissy on Thursday night. Tackling. Jordan Poyer, don't even get me started. Marcus May, oh my God. We cut Marcus May. He signs with the Los Angeles Chargers. He gets an interception in his first game. Ladies and gentlemen, it is about the talent, but it's also about coaching. Unbelievable. This guy, again, Chris Greer he's done good. The trade with San Francisco, fabulous. But drafting and free agents, awful. Just awful. And it's the same result every year, where we collapse at the end of the season and we don't get to where we need to be. And I think the way Chris Greer structured this roster, you're not going to win late in the season. The way this roster is constructed, they're getting bullied on the road. And that brings me to Mike McDaniel, because there's a couple quotes from players after the game that I'll talk about for a little bit. Let's start with Jordan Brooks. I respect Jordan Brooks so much for what he said on Thursday night after the game. He said that they were soft, the cold got to them, And he basically admitted that we're a soft football team. And it's a reflection on the coach. And he is 100% right on that aspect. He is 100% right. Shout out to Jordan Brooks for actually telling the truth about how it is. And you know what else, too? Chop Robertson said that he played at Penn State for numerous years. And the cold did affect him. Are you kidding me? So the cold, obviously, it obviously affected these players. The cold weather obviously affected these players in the game on Thursday night. And if I could find something, here we go. Emmanuel Acho on, I don't know what show, this is a show on FS1 Facility, but Emmanuel Acho had something very interesting to say on the day after the Dolphins against the Packers. And I absolutely agree with him. The way the players were playing out there, they said the cold affected them. It is a reflection on the coach. This is what Acho had to say Friday after the Dolphins-Packers game. Come on.
But you know what irritates me, Corbin? Let me know if we have this picture. I was watching the game before it even kicked off. It was the Mike McDaniel was out there and head coach Matt LaFleur was out there. And he looked so cold.
Yeah.
The head coach looked so
Why does he only have a hoodie?
cold.
One jacket on.
The players are a reflection of their coach.
He ready to
If
get in
the
that locker room.
coach looks cold, what do y'all think about the players? So what frustrates me, and now we're talking about the Dolphins now, what frustrates me is just how soft the Dolphins played. That muffed punt by the Dolphins. Dolphins make the Packers go 3 and out. So I'm sitting here thinking the defense did their job.
Yeah, they did.
And now you're going to fumble a punt. And, James, I suggest that muffed punt was purely because of the cold.
That set the tone.
It was purely because of the cold, 1,000%. Because I was thinking about, have the Dolphins muffed punts this season? And it's like, oh, wait. That's one of their few, if not only muffed punts all year, purely because of the cold. When I think about it, the Dolphins, they did look soft.
And another thing.
All right.
There you go.
Irritate.
There you go. They're a reflection of their coach. And if Mike McDaniel looks cold and they see him on the sideline shivering, cold, then you bet your ass that that is going to be a reflection on the players. And I'm about to say something from an account on Twitter. Don't take it for a grain of salt. This might not be serious. Right now, I'm saying it's not serious. But this is according to NFL notifications on Twitter. Again, take it with a grain of salt. They're saying breaking rumors, so right there. Tells you it's not true. But this is very interesting. Very interesting. The Dolphins locker room is beginning to fall apart. There are many players on the team that view the team as soft, and the list continues to grow. One player, the player is not named, I don't know who it is. One player gave a very blunt answer for the reason for this. It starts with coach. He was shivering the entire game. In the locker room, he was standing next to a heater. This is supposed to be our leader? Again, take it with a grain of salt. That might be true. That might not be true. Who the fuck knows? Who the fuck knows? But what Acho said is 1,000% right. If you see your coach on the sideline shivering, he looks cold, he's sprinting to the locker room to warm up, the players are a reflection to the coach. So if they look over at him and they see that he's cold, they're going to be like, shit, this has a huge impact on our game. And I just found it, you would never hear this shit from any other team in the NFL. Even Kyle Shanahan last night on Sunday Night Football, he's like, yeah, it's snowy and it's cold, but what we got to do is we got to stop the run, and they're running 60 yards on us, whatever it was. Kyle Shanahan is not blaming the weather at all. Dolphins players are going out there and saying, yeah, the weather was an issue. And that right there, that's a reflection of the head coach. So will they move on from the head coach at the end of the season? I highly doubt it. They just signed him to a contract extension. I doubt they're going to fire him this soon. But the last thing I want to talk about is Bradley Chubb. So apparently, Bradley Chubb's 21-day practice window got opened. He has until San Francisco to come back and play. And we are 5-7. We have about a 0.01 chance of making the playoffs. There's absolutely no point of bringing Bradley Chubb back for this season. Why? So he could possibly re-injure himself, and then we don't have him for the following year. Who wants to go through that? These 5 games, don't mean shit. These 5 games don't mean shit. We're just going to play it out and see how it goes. But why are we bringing Bradley Chubb back? What's the point of bringing Bradley Chubb back when you're 5-7 and you're not going to make the playoffs? I don't get it. So, when it's all said and done, hopefully Chris Grier is fired. Because that's the main conversation in this video. It's talking about Chris Grier, all of his failures, and the cracks have begun between head coach and general manager. When this shit is going to be fixed, hopefully by the offseason, man. Hopefully in the offseason. Fins up. Peace.